and happy Monday. It's Plug Talk Monday, 48th episode. We're coming to you at an unusual time. It is a special time for Plug Talk Sports today. Uh, it's a special week, a big week in Miami sports, as we have game one of round two for the Miami Heat in just an hour and 30 minutes on the FTX Arena. Heat taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. We have the Florida Panthers starting their playoff run this week as well. And then we have all week long having events leading up to Sunday's Miami Grand Prix for Formula One. Lots of events going on that we're going to try to get some coverage of. Isaac apparently doesn't like Formula One racing, but that's okay. How are you guys? I see Brian's got a nice cut going on. I like it. He got a cut just for the Celtics that I can see. Isaac looking stressed as always. Jonka looking like he just got his bed as always. And here we are, guys. Let's start with good news. Let's start with Jonka. Best thing you saw last week?
My Yankees have on a 9-game win streak. They're first in their division. So let's keep this up. Let's go Yankees. Let's go.
All right. That's good to hear. You're Yankees. Brandon?
Best thing this week. Seeing a lot of the playoff matchups back and forth, but however, the Florida Panthers getting number one in the East, and we already talked about before, they're gonna be playing their playoff game tomorrow. So, best thing, seeing them number one, and also I got my playoff tickets today, so I'll be there for game.
Nice. Isaac, best thing.
So best thing is not sports related. I think for once, I don't know how many times I've done plugs that were unsports related, but this weekend I did graduate. I know Jonka also graduated as well, so congratulations. But it was a good time. Danny, apparently, I'm not a good enough friend for him to visit the graduation. He was running off doing some Columbus thing. I got to see my fans, my friends, my family, and just hang out with some good people this weekend. So
who are the fans? I want to meet them too.
No, Danny. No, I'm just kidding. That's my plug of the week.
For me, it's gonna have to be went to a Marlins game with the Columbus kids. That's not what I was doing at your graduation for them, so don't worry. It was fun, man. I hadn't gone to a game since last season. They're getting good attendance over there, and it was very fun. The food was good. They got Miami's best pizza in there now. They got Pincho Factory. One of the coolest things I saw, they have Isla Canaria coffee, little Cuban coffee shots at center field. So I thought that was really cool. They've really stepped it up, and it was enjoyable game experience. So it was really fun. The Marlins were on a 7-game winning streak. Came to an end sadly yesterday, but it was fun. It was really fun to be out there in the ballpark. Now let's get to the sadness. Jonka, worst thing you saw?
Worst thing I saw. Well, worst for me. Well, good. Actually, no. Let me take that back. Worst for me. I guess it would be the Draymond ejection from yesterday. I didn't like it. I didn't think he deserved it. I think he was kind of because of his reputation, which shouldn't be put into the game. It should just be based on the play itself, not the guy's history. But the rest are a little bit of a whatever. I'm not gonna get into it.
Brandon?
Well, I'm pretty sure half of you guys already know what was the worst thing that happened this week. It was basically yesterday. The Celtics shooting 33% from the field overall yesterday. I'll let you know right now, that's the lowest shooting percentage of any playoff game in their franchise's history. So, they've literally been there since day one of the NBA. So it was a historically horrible game for the Boston Celtics. But, it's just game one. So we're just getting started in the series. So, horrible to watch, but, still a little bit anticipated for the rest.
Mm-hmm. Isaac.
So I mean, I was gonna actually say like some Manchester United stuff because the season is over, whatever. But no, this was some breaking news earlier today. Arizona Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre
Yeah.
Hopkins was suspended for 6 games for violating the PED policy. Last year he did have some injuries, his ankle, I think it was his knee at some point as well. Like we don't know, maybe he was taking something to help with that, but he got caught. He got busted, and now he can't play 6 games for the Cardinals next year. So that's my shameless plug. DeAndre Hopkins popping pills.
It's a title.
I think mine's gonna have to come from Brandon's article, something that I read in his article.
Mm.
Who is? Remind me again. I forget his name. Who was the guy that got drafted?
Evan Neal. Okay.
The worst thing I saw was that I saw in your article that he engraved Lake Okeechobee into his suit jacket for the draft. Come on, man. And you just opened your jacket.
It was a good design, though. It was a good design. Showing up for your city, your county, your town. It's a Florida boy, thick and through. So you gotta give him the respect.
Does that mean if I were to get drafted in my suit jacket, I'm gonna have to put like beside it and like Sergio's coffee and all that stuff? No, bro.
Hey, at least put like the 305 like Vice City in the jacket side. A little bit of a skyline, Miami. I mean, why not? If you're proud of where you're from.
I don't know how I feel about that, Brandon. not digging Lake Okeechobee.
Oh, come on.
It's
not
place
that
to go
bad.
fishing.
Yeah, of course. It's a great place to go fishing. I'm pretty sure you can also, find an alligator here and there. So if you like sightseeing, you know what I mean? You got a reptile out there to look at.
I agree with you. There's some good bass fishing spots up there. I'll give it that. But other than that, there's really not much going on.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get into first topic of the early evening here. Finally, after what seemed to be like 10 years or 8 years, however long it was, Miami Freedom Park is happening. For a moment in time there, I thought that the second return of Jesus Christ was going to happen before that stadium got done, but it's happening. They had a City Hall Commissioners meeting past Thursday, and it was quite the spectacle. I mean, they started like at 12 noon and ended like at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. It was a long process, and even some commissioners were getting into it, not even about the stadium. They were getting into it about their personal issues, about distributing money and whatnot. And Francis Suarez had to intervene and be like, all right, let's calm it down now. Let's tone it down a notch. Let's go on recess. Let's go for a little break so everyone can calm down, and then we'll come back and continue talking. But finally, this project, which is supposed to be a soccer stadium, shops, restaurants, hotel, a big park, it's going to be overtaking Mel Reese Golf Course and Country Club next to the airport, Miami International Airport that is, and turning it into this project, which is supposed to be done and open, I believe, 2025 or 2026, I believe.
March, right?
Yeah. But first, which Jorge Mas, one of the managing owner of Inter Miami, was on Fox News yesterday talking about how they have to wait till next year because under the Mel Reese golf course, there's supposedly some toxic waste that needs to be cleaned up, and that cleanup will not begin until next year, which is even funnier to me because they stated that there's toxic waste, yet you've been allowing people to play golf on this course for such a long time with toxic waste under the course. So it makes no sense to me, but that's going to happen next year. He was also stating in this interview that it would have to be tough to go around the parameters of throwing fireworks and doing all this pyro stuff in the stadium or even flybys because they're next to a major airport I mean, Drive Pink is next to an airport, but it's a very small regional airport with private jets and stuff like that. This is a major airport that has aircraft landing and taking off every second of the day. So that's going to be something where they have to try to work around. And then also the part of this deal, which they have 90 days to negotiate now, is a possible Miami Hurricanes football team joining in on the deal and playing at Miami Freedom Park, which raises the issue of this stadium only being 25,000. The Hurricanes and University of Miami saying that that's not good enough, and they would need the stadium to be at least 40 to 50,000.
I don't know how you guys feel about it, and I'll give you guys your 5 minutes or whatever, but I hate this deal. Like, I really do not like this deal. I didn't like the Marlins ballpark deal, and hey, it's been a couple years. The team is actually doing well this season, and I was there, Danny, as well, like in the building, and like you said, the attendance is there. It doesn't matter how bad the Marlins are. Like, that park really does generate a lot of like fans, to have fun. You had the Donda 2 spectacle that that ballpark works, right? This deal, I don't think that it's good for the city. It's yeah, sure, we're gonna have soccer in Dade County, which is wonderful, but at the expense of what you have the toxic waste now. You have all these developing luxury brand residential areas that they want to continue to build, that you or I are not going to be able to afford to live there. Like the everyday Miamian is going to suffer. There's going to be more traffic already in a place that's full of traffic. Now you're going to try to pack in, those 20, 30,000 people. I don't see it. I don't buy it.
And hey, that's just going to, before you guys chime in, that's just going to the stadium, Isaac. Imagine all the people that are going to the restaurants or whatever, or going to the hotel, or even want to just use the park, the soccer fields there, and use the park. I did forget to mention, this is a privately funded project. It will not be used through taxpayer money like Marlins Park was. And just the final thing I want to add is that, yeah, we're seeing nice attendance now. I think we know this. The recipe for Miami sports in general is
winning.
You win, people show up. And now as you see, yeah, the Marlins doing kind of decent, so people are showing up. But if Inter Miami, I mean, this is a few years down the line, 4 or 5 years down the line, but if they continue performing the way they're performing now, and they can't fill up a stadium in Fort Lauderdale, that's going to be a pretty nice, empty-looking stadium just sitting there.
Yeah, but I mean, personally, though, I really do believe that Inter Miami, by the time it grows, the more of the fan base is going to grow as well. I mean, of course, as we said before, Inter Miami wants to attract the Messis of the world, Ronaldos of the world. Even though as small as it is, we're on our third year as a franchise, and it's our third rebuild right now. But in reality, it's like, if you're not playing in Miami, why even call it Inter Miami? So in reality, they found the best real estate they can find that wasn't affecting any type of wildlife or any type of maybe like human or anything like that. They found a golf course that was just being used by a country club, and toxic waste. I mean, of course they'll take care of it. I don't think there's going to be even a reason why they would even worry about it. Hopefully not. You know what I mean? Hopefully not. As long as it's not built on an Indian burial ground or anything like that. But I'm telling you right now, I mean, I think it's a lot of money towards the city. I think it's going to be great for attracting athletes around the world. And let alone, as we mentioned before, private 99-year lease. I mean, this will be something that will build in over time. It's going to make its money somehow, some way. Either that be the Hurricanes coming in for a couple of football games or whatnot. Even Inter Miami can even do a couple of concerts in a new area that's not Marlins Park or FTX. But in reality, I think this is probably the best situation for, David Beckham and the group they have over there, or the ownership. So I like the idea, and I like the fact that this idea has actually turned into a reality. So I'm really excited for this new stadium coming in. Of course, as Isaac said, traffic, they're just going to have to build more roads. I don't know, hopefully not another Palmetto situation. You know what I mean? I'm praying they figure something out, but I really do like this deal.
Isaac, you wanna reply to that?
The rebuttal? No, I was just gonna say, like, going back to the traffic, and yes, like this deal for the stadium is supposed to be privately funded. But like you just said, Brandon, like building those roads, that's not privately funded. That's going to be the city. And that, construction is even more traffic, even more. So maybe over time, I'll bite the bullet. I'll be living in Orlando a couple of weeks from now, and I'll be checking down, on TV, and I'll check out the Freedom Park, and maybe it looks good. Maybe the team starts winning, and they don't boo their own players, or the fans don't boo their own players. But we'll see. It remains to be seen. But my rebuttal isn't too crazy. I respect your opinion, Brandon.
Just to put to that too. I mean, we didn't put in their traffic because that's the exit you take when you want to get into the terminal of the airport. So you forgot to mention that traffic as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, Brandon, if you have anything to add to that.
Well, I mean, the only thing I have to add to that, now that, this is all in the works, I'm hoping, because obviously I think the original plan was for the current place they have in Fort Lauderdale to be the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hoping that they at least replicate or do something better with this Freedom Park, because the facility they have over there, man, that is a top-notch facility, though. So I'm really curious what they have to build.
I do believe that they said they have plans of bringing a women's NWSL team to the Fort Lauderdale facility.
That's dope. Yeah.
Nice.
Look, I'm gonna put it here too about that Fort Lauderdale. It's nice. I'll give it that. It's nice. It's not bad. It's nice. It's a temporary nice. Because if you go around the league and you go around to the stadiums around the MLS, I mean, Janka was with me when we went over to Subaru Park. It makes our stadium look like a high school stadium. And that's just being on. It makes our stadium look like a high school stadium. So, and no doubt, Freedom Park is going to be much nicer than that. So, Freedom Park is gonna take the icing on the cake, and it should be up to par. But Janka, your opinion on the whole Miami Freedom Park deal?
As the far Miami legend says from Pepe Billete, nadie quiere jugar en Fort Lauderdale. Si tú eres Miami, you play in Miami, bro. But I do agree with Isaac on the traffic thing, 100%. I've lived in that area before, and Lejeune Road, in that airport, excuse my language, that shit gets unbearable. You want to cut your veins off. Like, I swear to God. It's bad. I've made the commute thousands and thousands of times. It's bad. And then putting in a new stadium, a new park, and then also they want to put in restaurants and other things, and other attractions. Oh, yeah, I said it. I'm happy for the team. They're getting a new stadium. I'm not happy for the traffic. Okay, I'm going to feel bad for the people that just want to go home after a long day of work and sit down and relax and drink a beer or whatever. Do their drugs, whatever they want to do. But they can relax when they hear thousands of fans screaming, "Vaya carajo, Higuaín, ¿qué te pasa?" Pero, I mean, like when maybe if I ever see Beckham again, I'm gonna put in my request to see, like, hey, can you maybe like put a roof over it so we can have like some silent games for the people that live around that area, especially for the airplanes. Maybe when they go over in the stadium, they don't make too much noise, like or whatever. You know what I mean? But
yeah. Now thinking about that too, that might be a problem for the neighborhood, because now you have the stadium with the fans, and now you got airplanes landing at the airport. So man, you got all sorts of noise going to be going on.
I just imagine you're sleepy, right? You hear an airplane. Me cago en la madre. Or they have like 3-4 months games a month. You with the airplanes and that, and then the traffic will go beep 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 signal. I don't think people are gonna enjoy that very much. But
yeah,
but I can't wait to go to the game instead of having to drive out to Casa Carajo in Fort Lauderdale. Mira, better Inter Miami with Mel Reese. But let me just say about Mel Reese. Didn't let me in because of a polo. So screw them, first of all. And I don't know what's the point of this toxic waste that we're talking about here. Toxic waste. What? They want to play on the toxic waste, so they somehow come up with a with a golf swing? Nah, they're all trash.
I think the toxic waste is the entire Miami Commission, but that's
Oh
a
my
debate for another day.
Shots fired.
Wow.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. The commissioners did come up with some pretty interesting BS arguments and excuses.
It was funny.
I mean, I believe it's Joe Carrillo who said that having a stadium there, the lights of the stadium would blind pilots from trying to land on the runway.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's just the thought of you thinking about that happening. It's just a pilot just trying to land his aircraft.
Mayday! Mayday!
Oh man, yeah. Just they came up with just so many different. The argument that did happen, I don't know if you guys saw it. It was pretty funny. It was one of the commissioners. That stadium is going to be in District 11, which is I forgot the commissioner's name, but his district. And he was saying, since the stadium is going to be in my district, everyone should evenly distribute the money into my district. And this guy, I think it was Manolo Reyes, was like, if I had a nickel for every time that you said you were going to distribute money evenly, I would have been so much better off. And then they just start going, the guy was like, oh, please. And like everyone's just like, Jorge Mas is just standing there like watching this like a tennis match. And everyone was like, all right, calm down, calm down. It was just a show. Like the whole meeting was a show. At first, they said that the vote wasn't going to happen that day, and it ended up happening. Like Miami Herald said it wasn't going to happen. But eventually, I mean, some of the players from the team were there sitting in attendance, and they were probably sitting there like, wow, I hope we don't have to do this another day and they vote tonight, because if I have to sit here for 8 more hours on another day, I don't know what I'm going to do. But finally, it passed. We're having our own soccer stadium, and Inter Fort Lauderdale is finally coming down and becoming Inter Miami at last. And hopefully, there's no, because we know how Miami is. There is no disturbances from here until the stadium opens. Hopefully. Moving on. Yeah.
I do not agree with UM playing at the Miami Freedom Park. Just letting y'all know.
Me too.
Though I am a UM fan.
Yep.
I am not a big fan of it. I prefer us having our own stadium away from even the soccer stadium. I just rather prefer us have our own place. Everybody's been talking crap for years, saying, "Oh, you guys don't even have your own stadium." Nah. Now when we have a chance, I feel like we should have our own stadium. I don't want to share. Honestly, I'm already fed up. I just want to share. I don't want to share. Period. That's my point. If you guys want to try in, you could. But I just want to put that out there. I don't want to share anything.
Anyone to chime in? Any last comments?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he said everything that needed to be said. I mean, if UM doesn't have their own stadium by at least the next 5 years, I mean, you got to go back to Hard Rock for the next decade or so. You know what I mean?
I'm already fed up with driving over there too.
No, and plus not even that. I mean, the students of that university taking the shuttle up there, going to tailgate. Mm-hmm. You know, and most of those fans are drunk by 9 o'clock in the morning. So imagine taking a shuttle back to Coral Gables. You know what I mean? I mean, like, why not? I guess, but you know, hopefully they do have their own stadium by the next 5 years. They need to.
I believe that, by the way, Brandon, what you said about the students from UM, because you listen to 90.5, some of the stuff that they play early in the morning. I'm like, what is this? What kind of music is this? But no, I think for a football team, you should be playing on a football field, and that's it. No fake soccer turf or no. Like, keep it a football stadium for a football team. I don't understand the mix. In a sense, I guess I do. It's about money. You know, I know Coral Gables, there was somebody as well. I don't know if they were a commissioner or what position they were. They were trying to raise money to do a stadium for UM in Coral Gables on the campus of my alma mater, Coral Gables Senior High School. And that's ridiculous. But I don't know. I think that personally, I live in Miami Lakes, so it's not a huge ride, to go see UM or something from where I live. Maybe for Jonka, it's a little bit a farther trip, but I really do like Hard Rock Stadium. I mean, that stadium is the state of the art, stadium. I mean, you've seen, like, I remember watching Notre Dame and UM a couple years ago.
John was there.
Yeah, like that environment was nuts, and you can't beat that. So I don't know.
That game was literally the best game I've ever been to in my entire life. I sat at the very front, the very, very first row, where I forgot who got the interception, but
Trajan Bandy from Columbus.
Yeah, Trajan Bandy ran it all the way after the interception. I was there, like, let's go, bro. We were up like 24-0 at the. Bro, I was so hyped that game. That is the game I want to go to every single time. Like something like that, bro.
Man, I really missed the 2017 UM. I really missed that team. Braxton Berrios, I wish he was like a seventh-year senior, man. Oh my gosh.
He's a savior.
Moving on to our next topic. This is something that I don't understand, and I tweeted it out. I just don't get it. But Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer, who was accused of sexual misconduct with a female. She accused him, and obviously while the trial was going on and stuff like that, he was not playing. He missed all of last season. And he was proven not guilty. The case was dropped. He was proven not guilty. But then the league goes ahead and suspends him for 2 years, which I personally don't understand, because if the law of the United States of America finds you not guilty, why are you still being suspended for 2 years from the league? The league is not the highest law and court in this country. So why are you being suspended for 2 years when you were found not guilty? Now, Trevor Bauer is appealing this decision by the MLB. And also, in this case, they found text messages. They did have sexual relationships, but the sexual relationships they found through text messages were consensual by both parties. Also, they found text messages in this girl's cell phone that she was doing this because Trevor Bauer had just been traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers and received a massive contract because he was the Cy Young Award winner the previous year. And he had gotten a massive contract, so she wanted a nice little payday from Trevor Bauer's contract. So she was going to accuse him of sexual misconduct to get a piece of that money. All this is public evidence now and fuel to him being proven not guilty, yet the league decides to suspend him for 2 years.
Well, I mean,
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because the Bauer situation itself, it's a very touchy subject. Obviously, this is the only thing we can compare it to from recent history. It's just the Deshaun Watson issue where he had about 22 to 23 sexual behavior misconducts accused on him, and then he ended up going on to actually be what looks like to be the Browns starting quarterback for next year. Mm-hmm. But in reality, this type of behavior, no matter if it's sexual misconduct or such, anything of abuse or anything like that, it doesn't belong in pro sports, let alone the MLB, NHL, NBA, NFL, or even the lacrosse league. Obviously, as Daniel just said, he was proven not guilty of anything like that. A majority of the stuff was actually consensual of their texting back and forth. But in reality, I just think that, most of the time it's just that, we have these big industries or organizations that just don't want to be associated, let alone an accusation.
Yeah.
Right. So if the Dodgers didn't want to be associated with that circus and didn't want to go into like, why do you have a bag of accused this and that, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of stuff still under the dirt that we don't know probably about this case. But in reality, if you're an organization, I mean, look what happened with Johnny Depp being cut off from the Harry Potter series, Fantastic Beasts, no matter, the case wasn't even going through anything, but they still dropped him. So in reality, it was a business move. And I know, there's a lot of people out there that are going to be on Team Bauer or otherwise, but I mean, there's a lot of things in this case that I feel personally we don't have a lot of information about. So It's a hard decision, but in reality, you got to understand it.
Okay, just I was agree what you were saying. Johnny Depp, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Bauer. Okay, Trevor Bauer's contract was I think 2020 in 2021, right when he signed.
Yeah.
It was 3 years, $102 million with a 10 million sign-on bonus. Okay, and for soccer players like Messi and Ronaldo and Neymar, this has also happened to them also.
Yep.
I'm not on one side or the other because this is a very, very touchy subject. I want to make myself very clear. I just find it funny that when these players find a new contract, a very high paying contract, millions of dollars, is when all of a sudden the females that supposedly has not agreeable to contact, sexual contact with the person in question, all of a sudden just comes out as you're getting paid. Not before, not months before when they were just getting the final paychecks of their previous contract. No, no, it's the moment they signed the contract. That's the problem I have. Like you saw with Deshaun Watson, right? He was getting a payday from from the Texans, right? The Texans were gonna give him a new payday. All of a sudden, all this comes out. Now he signs with the Browns, and more girls are start coming out. I was like, where were you when he was still in the Texans? It's like I also want to say it's like obviously you shouldn't touch a lady 100%. I agree. There should be no reason you should touch a lady. In no way. Just back off, leave. Just even if she's trying to instigate it, just leave. But it gets kind of touchy in what I was saying in the beginning when it's like when they show up all of a sudden once you have success. So I want to say to all the male athletes out there, it's like pick and choose wisely because maybe some of them are just trying to get your money and just dip. Right? I'm not saying all girls are going to do that. I'm just saying when you have success, people always try to bring you down. So just really make sure what you're doing. Like I always tell Daniel when we always talk about subjects like this, keep the pickle in the jar and walk away. So I'll leave it at that. Just Isaac, if you want to talk or
Yep. Isaac.
Well, so I had to I wasn't reading text or anything. I was reading this like a story right now that ESPN had put out on the situation. So I had to kind of inform my own self. Yeah, I mean, male athletes or just really athletes in general, they sign these big contracts, and then sometimes this happens where somebody gets accused of rape or one of these really horrible acts, right? After reading and I know there's going to be more information on it. This investigation has supposedly gone on now, which it was an MLB investigation. It wasn't the team that was doing the investigation for like 10 months. So this has taken months and months and months. I think it's two things. So first thing, right off the bat, and I don't know why my thumb is unfocused, but first thing off the bat, this was a PR move to ban this guy for 324 games, something like that. I have to look it up again. Something like 324 games.
Mm-hmm.
You are trying to make a statement. And I think as a league that we've seen we can talk about the NFL all day, but we've also seen the number of cases, whether they're civil or they're criminal cases, where there's battery, where these baseball players are beating on their wives or they're just doing horrible stuff. It's happened before. And in this investigation with I think it was Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So that's one case. And yeah, the allegations and everything was dropped, but there's also two other cases pending from Ohio. Two other women in Ohio that have accused them of like choking during sex and like a sexual misconduct, right? So I think this is a PR move. from the MLB saying we need to take a stand of this guy that's 3 women. Maybe there's going to be more, like Jonka said, maybe more women come forward and accuse this guy of something. But yeah, this is the MLB saying we take this really seriously and you're making us look bad, whether you did it or not. So here's a 324 game ban. The second part, I think, is also you have to understand like the difference between like a criminal investigation and like a civil thing. Like a perfect example is Antonio Brown, where you have hearsay or whatever, and it's like, let's say Danny, I have a problem with Danny, so I'm going to sue him, and it's going to go to a civil court, not a criminal court, because it's something I have to prove. I have to prove that Danny, I don't know, defamed me or something. That's a civil thing, and that has nothing to do with the criminal investigation. The criminal investigation actually weighs a lot more. You could press charges on somebody; they have to serve time. So I think that's the main 2 reasons why the MLB is trying to do a PR move, and then the other thing is the criminal case is pretty serious. So they're gonna basically take this ban while the investigation is still going on, just to make sure this guy does not play. So people don't say, hey, look, he's the starting pitcher for this team and he's got these pending things. I don't know. I think it's just a look thing. PR.
Which comes to my point that we know that we live in the society and culture of cancel culture. And unfortunately, I believe in our Constitution of the United States, and we have a process of which we do things. And we have a Supreme Court, we have a court, we have judges, we have justices and whatnot. And the process and the saying is you're innocent until proven guilty. It's not the other way around. And I feel that it is very frustrating in today's society and disheartening that even like a Trevor Bauer or a Johnny Depp, if you're proven innocent and there's evidence there you're proven innocent and you're not proven guilty, that you will still lose everything, even though you're proven innocent, just because you were involved in a case. And it's frustrating because you and your conscience, if you're that person, I did nothing wrong, and we're supposed to trust in the court process and the due process and the jury, which is the people, obviously. And I was proven not guilty, yet I'm still being punished for something I didn't do, which is my entire career. So that's something for me that it's a part of our society. It's very frustrating right now. If you've done nothing wrong and you still lose everything. There was a quote that Johnny Depp said. They asked him during his trial. It was a very emotional moment, actually. And they asked him, what have you lost, by this trial? And his answer was, I've lost everything. He stated, I have never been accused in my life for such accusations, and I have never done such accusations. And because of this trial, I've been dropped from everything in my career. And who knows when I get out of this trial, innocently, if I will still have a career left, and it's something and a part of my life that I will have to deal with and live with for the rest of my life. And people calling me, names like a rapist and a woman beater and a woman hitter for the rest of my life. So words, yes, you can be proven innocent, but words have already done the damage and will stay, especially with the internet, will stay on the internet forever.
Yeah, and I think that's why the whole reason why Johnny Depp was suing for defamation.
Yeah.
Because his Amber Heard, yeah, like his wife was accusing him of some serious stuff. So I'm reading a little. I have to read a little bit more about this, but yeah, it just seems like the internal investigation from the MLB is not done yet.
Yeah.
And what that tells me is if you're still working on something, it's not done yet. but you go ahead and say, okay, but we're gonna throw this ban out there. There's stuff that we don't know. That hopefully information will come out as we know, but maybe they know more stuff. I don't know, but that's the world that these athletes live in. When they suit up and they sign that contract, they're almost like not just like employees, like like working a 9 to 5 office job. Like they are supposedly held to a different standard. Yeah. And if your name, whether you're right or wrong, if your name kind of circles around the internet with this stuff that's really controversial, or like Danny, you're saying with the cancel culture, and like let's say Twitter, for example, or let's say Danny posts a picture with some group or whatever, and he's just friends with one guy, and that one guy is known for bad stuff, like automatically, unfortunately, you get associated with it, right? So it is one of those things. Like I can't really decide because we don't know more. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors, and this investigation isn't over by the MLB.
I have a problem with the MLB though, because if he is or was proven not guilty, but yet they still suspended him for the 324 games, to me it kind of shows like they don't really care for their players. They just want to make themselves look good to the eye of the people, but yet they want to make this guy look like a piece of shit.
That could be part of it.
Again, that's my problem though, because you went to court, you went to trial. This is supposed to be the highest law in the land. What makes MLB's investigation so much different than the real investigation and the real trial? What makes the MLB's rules and laws trump the real rules and laws of this country? What makes them much bigger than the actual federal law? And they're making a decision against the jury that already made a decision. So it makes no sense to me. And if they're still pending stuff and they're still having their own investigation, then they should just continue to do what they were already doing, which was extending his administrative leave, instead of just already handing a 2-year suspension when your investigation that's pending is not even over yet.
Does anybody know if his contract is he not getting paid while he's suspended, or is it just?
I don't think he's getting paid right now as he's suspended.
Oh. Damn.
He's not allowed to play. He's not allowed to be traded.
Frozen.
Basically.
That sucks.
Yep.
And he's 33, guys. So let's say 2 years blow by, he'll be 35?
Yep.
Who's going to want to sign Trevor Bauer?
Yeah.
At 35.
With all the baggage he went through.
With all the baggage, exactly.
And plus, he hasn't played. So how do you even know if he's like 2 years without playing? Your like your mechanics and your like muscle memory is like depleted.
If you check out his he has a very good YouTube channel, I will say. If you check out his YouTube channel, I mean, he has shown himself just going to local gyms and pitching and working out with college athletes and trying to stay in shape, But we still know like that's not the same as pitching in a Major League Baseball game, So I completely agree with Isaac. Like it's gonna ruin his career.
Oh yeah. Plus, not even that. I mean, an athlete being 35 years old, especially in today's MLB. I mean, there's a bunch of kids coming out from either outside of the states or even through the high school process in the farm system. I mean, anybody can replace him within 2 years. I don't think there's a guarantee on that, but I mean, it looks to be. I mean, most likely we might not even hear his name again in the next coming years.
Yeah, I think Brandon has a great point too.
We're talking like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Just really quick, Brandon. You have a great point because of the way that baseball is played today, with so many great pitchers. Like he's literally replaceable.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Danny. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, and when you talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers that has one of the best farm systems in the MLB, like they can easily find another great pitcher without him. Look, they did great last season. They're off to a good start this season without Trevor Bauer. So
Exactly.
it's kind of like it's not really impacting. It would be great to get a talent like him back in the roster, but are they a team that's a pitching bullpen that's like dying or a dire need for his talent? They're not. So that's the situation on Trevor Bauer, and we're gonna move on to the next topic. We're getting closer, guys. Game 1 of round 2, Miami Heat, Philadelphia 76ers. The big news out of this one, guys, and I still remember when I got the notification, I sent it straight to Isaac and Jonka, is Joel Embiid is done. He's out for the rest of the playoffs after an injury against the Raptors. How do you guys look? I personally had with Joel Embiid before he was announced out. I had the Heat winning in 6. But without Embiid now, I give Miami a gentleman's sweep at 5.
Well, I'm going to have to say first, Joel Embiid is actually out indefinitely, so we don't have a specific timetable. The only thing that's really guaranteed right now is that he's not going to be in Game 1 or Game 2. However, at the same time, Jimmy Butler dealing day-to-day injury with that knee inflation on his right knee. And then, of course, Kyle Lowry's not going to be – I'm not exactly what his timetable is like right now, but he's not going to be there for the first majority of these games. So the only way the 76ers are even going to get a chance in this series, let alone even an idea that what we can see from the Heat, because I do have the Heat winning. However, the timetable is a little bit different because if James Harden, which I have to say for those people out there, because I said it before in other podcasts, other plugs, James Harden has not fallen off. All right, he's just facilitating. He's changed his role a little bit. He's averaging I'm just saying, you can't not doubt the impact that he's had. All right, can't doubt James Harden. Can't doubt Tobias Harris. Now, I'm not saying they have a chance in this series because I do have the Heat. However, I only have the Heat because they have the depth. So it really depends on how healthy this team is.
So, in other words, are you telling me that you think the Sixers are taking the Heat to 7 games?
Well, I'm not saying that, right? However, Joel Embiid can just come back for Game 3 and wear a mask. I mean, we've seen it before in the NBA, right? Not even that. He's been playing with a torn ligament in his finger throughout this entire playoff series with Toronto, also, I believe, during the end of the year. So, in reality, he's out indefinitely. So, the timetable, we still don't know if he's going to come back to Philadelphia. All the Miami Heat have to do is win all the home games, which they should. I do not believe that he will lose a single game at FTX. That's a guarantee. You put Charles Barkley on that one. A guarantee the Miami Heat will not lose a single game in Miami. But in reality, as I said before, don't doubt them. The only impact that they have is a lack of depth, which Miami has a ton of. But Miami has to stay healthy. They have to stay healthy.
That's not a concern for me, Brandon. You know why? Because Bam, Kyle, and Jimmy all together played very few games together in the regular season and still dominated the regular season and finished in the first seed. So them not playing together, not being healthy together in this round is not an issue for me. That bench with that depth that you just talked about can get it done. And I think they can get it done in 5.
It's going to have to be a Max Strus masterclass in the next
Gentleman's sweep.
Gentleman's sweep.
So with Brandon, I have to agree. I don't think James Harden is washed, but his game has definitely changed because you have Tobias Harris. This kid Maxi, or I forgot his name, but you know what I'm talking about. The young, he's maybe a year into the league. If not, he's a rookie. He's been great. Tobias Harris can also get you 20. So for James Harden, he doesn't need to score 30, 35, 40 a game. If he has something like that, if he's having that kind of game, that's kind of scary to think. But I don't think it'll happen. He doesn't need to do that. What he needs to do is facilitate. He had 16 assists in that last playoff game he played. So if he's facilitating and they're shooting the 3 ball and they can take Miami to, I would say, 6 games at best. Brandon, you're correct. Adrian Wojnarowski dropped a Woj bomb earlier today, and he did say that Embiid could be back as early as Game 3 or Game 4. I'm okay with that, and I feel good with that because, like Brandon said, I think Miami could really go into Philadelphia with a 2-0 lead, and then maybe let's say you have, I don't know, a 2-1 lead, and you're looking at Jimmy Butler, his knee isn't feeling well, and he might need to sit down. Kyle Lowry, who's been injured a couple times this season already, they can sit out a game or two, and I have enough confidence in the Heat to shoot the three with Duncan Robinson shooting unconscious from three. Max Strus, that's the thing. That's the thing. This team, they cannot put the foot on the brake. They have to keep going. And one thing I've seen this season and many other seasons with the Heat is their third quarter. You open up that third quarter with a great lead, and then they blow the lead. With Embiid in the lineup for the Sixers, I would hate to see this Miami Heat team blow a lead. That's what scares me. But and I think Adebayo, Danny, you mentioned Adebayo. He's their center, even though he's not really a center. And he has to pound the paint. He has to, beat guys, which I think he can. Three guys besides Embiid on the lineup for the Sixers are DeAndre Jordan, Paul Millsap, and Charles Bassey. And look, second big man, Paul Reed. I don't know if you guys know who Paul Reed is, but the point is, he can get it done, and I would love to see Bam get on in transition, get some blocks in. I have confidence in this team to do it in 6 games.
Jonka?
All right. So after hearing all of your predictions,
All the bullshit.
all your details, BS, yeah, why not? Okay, so I want to start with Daniel. Daniel, so do you have the Heat winning all their home games?
Here's how I see it. I have Miami taking a 2-0 lead. If you say Embiid's coming back game 3, let's say he comes back game 3, they have the whole momentum, the crowd, Philadelphia, blah, blah, blah. They lose game 3. Miami comes back, wins game 4, 3-1. You come back home, game 5, they get it done in a close game. Heat move on.
Okay, so you have them winning the first 2. Isaac.
Yes, first two home games.
Brandon, you said you have them winning all home games, right?
Guarantee.
So this is my take on it. Okay, I have them also winning the first 2 games, right? Let's say Embiid comes in games 3 or 4, right? If the Heat win game 3 and they take a 3-0 lead, right? As of right now, I'm not completely sold on the Heat in terms of aggression and putting their foot on the team's throat and just nailing it off. So if they do take a 3-0 lead, I want that game 4. I want the Heat to slice their, throw it off. I want to step on it. I want to just finish the series, demoralize them. I want to see that, they want it for seriously. I want them to see, because with that last series with Atlanta, they had that game 4, but the refs kind of sold them that game for them. But I want to see the Heat with a little bit more aggression in terms of getting the series done. Because if, let's say, they do go on to play the Celtics which I think Milwaukee Bucks, but I don't think. Sorry, Brandon, that is shot.
Yeah, there's a good chance. I'm not gonna call out Milwaukee of anything, man, because those are 2 aggressive teams. But go ahead, man. Go ahead.
If they do take a 3-0 lead and they fail to officially sweep the Sixers, that kind of shows they're not mentally as tough as the Bucks would have been since coming back from 2-0 in the last finals. I want to see mental toughness. I want to see the Heat in the bubble. I want to see them we don't care who you are. We want to step on your throat and watch you die.
Oh, exactly. Because
I want to see that will prove to me that the Heat will win the finals. I have them winning the finals, but I want to see it to believe it. I want to see demoralization in terms of how they play.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But I have to say, though, the first round series of the Miami Heat versus the Atlanta Hawks, if anything's proven in that series, it's the fact that the Miami Heat has ball movement at the top
100%.
tier. Top tier, Eric Spoelstra masterclass, top tier ball movement. But in reality, I mean, it's all going to be about the defense. I mean, for example, because you talked about Milwaukee looking phenomenal as they did in game one, I mean,
100%.
that's no fluke. You know what I mean? I mean, the top three of Chicago, they all shot basically below 35% overall from the field goal just because of the defense, of a harassment from Milwaukee, the size and everything. I mean, Grayson Allen, I don't know what conditioning they're doing over there in their facilities over there in Wisconsin, but this guy was playing full court press throughout the entire game. So, as you said before, it got to be a finish it all mentality for Miami because, as I said before, I don't know exactly where this series is going to go. I have Miami winning it, but the Eastern Conference Finals, if they make it through, I mean, you got to be addictive to defense in that series. Whoever you face, Boston or Milwaukee. But Miami, if they're going to start somewhere, they got to start tonight for game one.
Especially if they finish, let's say they do sweep, it gives them more time to relax and get heal those injuries up if any come up at all. Or if let's say Kyle Lowry doesn't play the series or something happens to Jimmy Butler where he can't play, they do finish the series 4-0 and they give them more time to rest to head into the final conference finals.
Let's jump into the final topic for tonight's show. Miami Dolphins in their draft picks. All three of you I know, well, not Janka, but the two of you I know, like the Dolphins. How did you guys feel about their draft picks?
Well, I mean, I thought I was pretty good for the draft picks themselves. I know that their first pick of this year's draft was a kid out of Georgia, which will definitely help out with the run defense. And that was a huge issue for the Miami Dolphins, probably the only issue on defense coming out of them from the trenches and the line. But in reality, I like these picks. I don't really believe a majority of these guys will be, first-year starters. However, the one thing that really intrigued me, though, they got from Kansas State, this kid Thompson, the quarterback. They got a quarterback in this year's draft, late as it is. So I'm really curious about now that quarterback room where you have Tua Tagovailoa. A lot of fans are eager to see him actually take a huge step forward to at least make a Pro Bowl or something to at least put this Dolphin team to the playoffs because in reality, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater breathing down your neck for that starting job. Now you have this kid Thompson, young as he is, 7th-round guy, but he just might make the quarterback room for this year's season. We might have 3 quarterbacks over there, and all 3 of them could possibly have a good chance. Possibly. I don't know about Thompson because obviously a rookies need to build and everything like that. But Teddy Bridgewater, in reality, he has a chance. So I thought that the Dolphins improved on defense in a position that they needed to fill out. The rest of the guys, I don't really feel like they even make it past spring unless they're on the practice squad. But I thought for at least a Dolphin team that said F them picks to get Tyreek, you got to admit it's a pretty good, handful of guys we got.
Isaac?
I think the draft is pretty solid. I'll be honest. Before today, I had to look it all up because I didn't even watch the draft. I don't know about you guys, but this past year, like I was feeling FOMO. Like I don't know. I was not into the draft. I did not care. But after looking at some of the guys they picked up, they got Eric Ezukanma from Texas Tech. He doesn't even have a picture on ESPN. He's a receiver, which I'm glad that they got a receiver. Of course, they got Tyreek and all that. So, like you said, Brandon, I don't know how long he will be with the Dolphins and stuff. And they also got an outside linebacker as well. And really, it's the linebacker. Or actually, I'm sorry, it's the inside linebacker that I like the best, which is Channing Tindall. That linebacker position for the Dolphins has kind of been, they've had Van Ginkel and they've had great players, but they're a little inconsistent sometimes, especially covering tight ends and so forth. So the Dolphins, strengthening that linebacking core, I think is really important. And this kid's solid from Georgia. So yeah, for me, the Dolphins picking up this inside linebacker Channing Tindall from Georgia was really important.
Well, guys, that's all the time we have for today. I appreciate you guys tuning in, watching this episode. As always, watching Plug Talk Sports, being tuned to our website, articles. Brandon with the most recent article talking about Florida standout coming out of Lake Okeechobee, going to the New York Giants. Make sure you tune into that and tune into all the content that we have. Subscribe our YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, and we should catch you guys for a brand new episode next week. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and let's enjoy this Heat game tonight, except for Brandon.